Hello! Now that I'm more, visible on social media, TikTok, YouTube, and my podcast, I started to get a lot of DMs and emails of just people, reaching out, pitching me ideas, and asking me to take their ideas to producers, managers, and agents that I know, who are in my network, that I worked so hard to build all by myself for 6 years. They're like, hey, use your sweat and years of dedication and tears that you put into building your network, and instead of pitching your idea to them, why don't you pitch mine? One time, Michael Jamin, he's a social media personality who has been a Hollywood screenwriter for over 20 years. I remember this one video where he was complaining about people asking him to take their projects to the producers he knows. And he was saying how that is impossible. He will not be doing that for anyone. Now, he didn't say it like that. It was more professional, but I can't seem to find that video, and he responded really well. For me, I was in shock for a moment when I read some of these emails and messages. Some look professional. They're really professionally reaching out to me like I'm a producer. Some try to connect with me on a personal level, but obviously for their own gain instead of actually wanting to get to know me. And these long emails had the logline and the long synopsis of their TV show or movie. And to be honest with you, I didn't even read any of that. I just saw what they requested and gave them a very short reply. Said, isn't that rude? Why don't you just read their message? Because I'm not a producer interested in other people's scripts. I'm not a manager or an agent wanting to represent writers, right? I'm a writer and a filmmaker. I make my own things. I pitch my own things. I would love to become a mentor for new writers. That's why I'm doing YouTube, TikTok, and this podcast. I love helping new writers navigate this industry because I know it's brutal out there and no one gives you the real truth. They like sugarcoating things and make it seem like it's gonna be easy, but it's not. It's a lot of dedication and hurt that goes into becoming a screenwriter or a writer or artist of any kind. I know why people do this though, reaching out to a fellow writer who has a bit more experience than you and asking them to pitch your idea to their network. But the thing is, you grew that network over 6 years, sometimes 10, 20, 30 years of sweat, dedication, hard work, a lot of cries, a lot of no's, a lot of ghosting, and a lot of trying to keep up with everyone in your network. I literally have a list of people and exactly what happened on an Excel sheet. Like, what did we talk about? What did I pitch to them? The CEO of Roadmap Writers, Joey, actually told me this, and it's been very helpful. If you're interested in learning how I build my network and keep track of everyone, literally scheduling time blocks where I just catch up with people in my professional network, leave a comment below and I will make a full video about it. But back to the topic. At the end of a very long and exhausting journey, you finally build a network of people who you can pitch something, maybe once or twice a year. You usually can't bother these producers every week or every month. You have to be strategic with how you approach them or you'll be ghosted. I got ghosted so many times before I finally figured out how this all works, and still learning some things. But now someone is asking you to use all those connections and pitch their idea to them instead of yours. Why would someone do that for someone they don't know? Why would I use that one card, one chance I have with one producer, and I use that card for your story and not mine? Think about that for a moment. I'm not trying to be rude or insensitive, but this is the reality of the industry, and the sooner you learn this, the better. You have to make your own connections. You can't just skip to the end. You have to attend pitch festivals, pitch your ideas, get into some screenwriting competitions where you can then meet these people and pitch. You can go to the coffee shops in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, and see if you come across someone, but don't pitch them your idea for 20 minutes. Pitch them for only a minute or 30 seconds. If they agree to listen to you, of course. Don't go around harassing people or pushing your idea on other people like you're doing in my DMs and emails. It's so obvious when you look at someone's IMDb. You can tell if that's someone you can pitch your idea to, or if they work for producers. For example, when you look at mine, my projects always have other producers, but I'm always either the sole writer, one of the writers, or the writer-director. So when you see that, you know that I'm not someone who you can pitch your idea to. I mean, you can if you found one of my freelance gigs and you want to order a script feedback or need my professional help, but I'm not someone who will take your idea to Netflix, HBO, or Hulu, which is what most people keep insisting on in these messages, by the way. Oh, please find someone to take my idea to Netflix, HBO, or Hulu. Now, whoever is watching this, it's not that easy, okay? I have connections. Yes, many artists around me have their own connections, and yeah, sometimes our connections happen to know each other, and from somewhere our connections want us to work together on one of our idea or their idea. I co-wrote an amazing show that got a meeting with HBO due to some other connections who happened to know each other. But then what happened? WGA strike happened and the meeting just fell apart. Now they moved on and we no longer have a meeting. I almost sold my TV show before the pandemic hit. I had 6 producers interested in it and ready to take it to their own connections. Then boom, pandemic lockdown hit, and can you believe that those production companies shut down? They're just poof, gone. Now I have other connections. Recently there's some movement about some upcoming projects with some producers I know, and we're discussing if I can be the writer, but then they might fall apart too, or they might be successful. You just don't know. It's such a gamble. Networking and projects, these two things are all about gambling and a lot of dedication, a lot of rejection, dealing with rejection, and a lot more other things. So you cannot ask someone else to gamble for you or like dedicate their entire time and energy and effort and hard work to your idea, unless you guys are co-writers or they're your producer or they're your manager or agent. I recently met a producer literally last weekend. Now he's someone who seems like he wants to work with me for this project, but not produce my shows and my movies. That's also another thing you have to know if you want to become a screenwriter or if you're doing this. The show and the movie you're writing, as amazing, as wonderful as the story and the writing is, the producers you meet are usually, the majority of them at least, are not interested in making your scripts. They are interested in what you wrote as a sample, as a writing sample. If you're a freelance artist or a writer, you know what a sample of work means, right? You have to prove that you know what you're doing. So you use your writing samples to get those general meetings with executives, and you let the producers know that you know how to write, you know how to write this genre or that genre, and you have that writing sample. Usually, you don't have the hope for them to make it, which I know is a big thing, but for the majority of your writing career, you will use those projects you wrote as writing samples in the hopes that the producers have similar projects where they need to hire writers. So they can use your writing sample, look at how amazing it is, and then they can hire you for another project. That's the business aspect of it. It's the harsh truth that no one seems to acknowledge, especially new writers or those who create educational content for new writers. I know sometimes I complain about some negative aspects of the entertainment business because I'm a person who philosophically embraces art for art's sake and not art as a means to an end. But at the end of the day, I am grateful to have the opportunity to pursue writing and screenwriting as a full-time career. So I have to work hard to embrace the business aspect of it all. And in my MFA in screenwriting, we had this class every semester, which was so amazing. I'm really working on bringing that class on this YouTube channel so I can show you guys how much you can learn about the entertainment industry just by doing those specific assignments we did every week. That class was called Business of Screenwriting. So that course was really helpful. for those of you who reach out to people cold online, I want to tell you that you have to, one, check people's IMDb's beforehand. Make sure they're producers, agents, managers who will be interested in a new writer. And two, if you want to make a connection with a fellow writer or a fellow artist, this podcast is not just for writers, right? But my advice is come from a place of genuineness. So come from a place of wanting that person's feedback, or if you want to collaborate with them, or if you just want to meet them, if you want to ask their opinion about some idea, make sure to be genuine and to be as quick as you can be. Remember that everyone's time is precious. And also don't be surprised if an experienced writer asks for payment to read your script and give feedback, because that writer will be spending 2 to 4 hours to do all that. Plus, they have put time and energy and effort and years into becoming that writer who can give not only amazing feedback for your story, but also their opinion about the marketing and pitching aspect of it. Remember that those writers won't be giving you their free feedback. Doing it for free is usually only for your close friends who you have known for years and you worked with and blah blah. So open your mind up to this reality that we live in and act accordingly. That's my big advice. And speaking of pushing your idea onto other people, since the title is the harsh truth about asking for favors, another thing that we have to deal with every day as screenwriters is when you tell someone you're a screenwriter, they just start telling you their idea. And these are usually non-screenwriters. They're not filmmakers. They're not people who know anything about storytelling. They haven't written anything. They just have an idea. And the common annoying thing about these people is that every writer I know, like every one of them, noticed the fact that these people act like their idea is the one thing that will make you successful as a writer. Like, you have to write this. This is the most special, the most amazing, the one and only kind of an idea that every producer will be interested in. That's how they talk, that's how they behave. Well, hate to break it to you, but everyone thinks their idea is the one. Everyone thinks like, oh, only if they make my idea, it's the biggest one. People will be obsessed with it. I know it. Everyone thinks like that. Whatever idea you're telling me or any other writer, whatever idea you are pushing on me or to any other writer, stop thinking like that's the shit. The one and only, the most special one, the idea daddy of all ideas. Is that a thing? So stop acting like that. If you think your idea is worthy of writing, learn how to write. Take courses. There's YouTube. We're literally over here teaching how to write a screenplay all the time. Watch some videos. Write yourself. Write on your own. Then ask for feedback from people to make it better. Just because you asked someone what they do for work and they said they're a screenwriter, it doesn't give you the right to suddenly push your ideas onto them or tell them every single idea that comes to your mind over the course of your relationship. Be considerate of people's mental loads. And I don't mean don't ever tell a writer your idea. Of course, let us know. Sometimes we love listening, but maybe ask them if they have the mental space for it, knowing they're probably working on 1,000 ideas all at the same time, so they may be overloaded. And another important thing that I want to mention here is if you want to write your idea with someone and become co-writers, you have to realize that they will only work with you if they, one, believe in you, two, believe in your idea. Right now, I'm a co-writer with 2 different people on 2 different projects. I would only accept to be a co-writer with someone if, one, a producer or a company is paying me to write something with another writer, not necessarily someone I know, but hey, they're paying me and the idea sounds cool. Or the second reason would be if I believe in the success of that idea or the person in the future. So if someone says no to writing your idea, or they can't say no, so they tell you that they don't have time at the moment, they're too busy or something, then stop bothering them. Unless they keep asking you or show real interest in writing that idea in the future with you, move on from that writer, okay? You can stay in each other's networks. There's no harm in that. You might be hired for something together in the future. Why not? So don't end it on bad terms. But quietly note down that they were not interested in that, let's say, sci-fi idea. And if you want to work with that writer in the future, maybe notice that they don't like writing sci-fi, for example. They love true crime or something. So then make a mental note of that. Or like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll show you how to make an actual note of that. How to build a networking chart where you can keep track of every conversation you had with every writer, producer, manager, agent. So that way you have it all together in one document and you never forget. So what did we learn in this episode? 1. Everyone's network comes at a cost. You can't ask people to use their network for you. But I guess if you do ask, then be prepared to give them something in return. But don't push people if they're not responding or they kindly said no. 2. You're causing people to associate your name with negative feelings and memories. Oh, I had to sit there for 20 minutes listening to her boring idea about aliens, which has been done 1,000 times before, and she claimed it was original and the producers would fight over it. Don't be that person other writers talk about like that. That's bad. And 3, learn how to ask people to be your co-writer politely and nicely. Be considerate about their time, energy, and effort. And again, years and years of hard work that they put into this craft. 4, no means no. If someone said no, don't try to convince them by saying more. Accept it and see if you can salvage any type of connection after that rejection. Just to stay on good terms, because again, it's business. You can't have bad blood because then you might miss a lot of good opportunities in the future. That's it for today's episode. Before you go, I want to ask you a big favor. If you think someone you know might benefit from listening to this episode, please send this episode to them. Just copy the link and just send it to them. It'll help me grow organically and reach out to people who can learn something from this. And let's build a trustworthy, genuine community where you can learn how to express your genuine art, tell your authentic stories, but also learn the business aspect of the entertainment industry. Thank you for watching if you're on YouTube. Thank you for listening if you are listening to this podcast. You can find the YouTube link in the show notes. Make sure to subscribe as I make videos only for YouTube sometimes, talking about all things art and screenwriting. Thank you and see you next time.